Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. If you went back to the beginning of this year, 2020, and as the ball was dropping, you predicted we would have had a once-in-a-century pandemic that would shut down virtually the entire economy, put half the world under lockdown, kill more than 100,000 Americans, and be the leading cause of mortality for weeks at a time. All of it, every last part of it would have seemed incomprehensible. And this is where we are. 100,000 Americans have died. Yet the only real nod the president has made to any kind of mourning or empathy for the fallen is to lower flags at federal buildings and monuments to half staff for 3 days. And now they're back up. He's bored with dealing with the virus. He's moving on. He wants us to move on too. The president is mad at the virus for screwing up his reelection, which has been obvious and clear from the moment this all started in his public pronouncements. But a source telling Vanity Fair that Trump was in a rage last week about how the virus had affected him. Quote, he was saying, "This is so unfair to me. Everything was going great. We were cruising to re-election." And again, it has been clear in his public pronouncements, this is how he has been thinking about it. That he's the victim here. 100,000 dead. It's unfair to him. Which is why he wants to move on. And that is why his Twitter feed is now just a utter self-parody of idiotic BS and lies instead of sorrow. It's why he said the U.S. would be reopening, vaccine or no vaccine. It's why he is conducting himself as if none of this happened, as if we were transported back in that time machine to the first day of the year, as if it were a year ago, before the pandemic hit. I mean, if there is any strategy behind this, I suspect there's not a lot of it. But if there is, the idea is to send the message that it's done now, it's over. Let's stop talking about this. Time to get back out there. But it is not over. Nationally, we appear in the aggregate to be in the decline phase of the first wave, which is cautiously good news. But this virus, this disease, has already killed an incomprehensible number of Americans. Everyone's sort of struggling how to communicate it. The nation's front pages attempting to convey the scale of the horror. But Donald Trump cannot grasp this. We know this about him. It has been clear for the totality of his public life. And so today it was left to Joe Biden to deliver a national eulogy marking the lives of those that we have lost.
To all of you who are hurting so badly, I'm so sorry for your loss. I know there's nothing I or anyone else can say or do to dull the sharpness of the pain you feel right now. But I can promise you from experience, the day will come when the memory of your loved one will bring a smile to your lips before it brings a tear to your eyes. My prayer for all of you is that day will come sooner rather than later. But I promise you it will come. And when it does, you know you can make it. God bless each and every one of you and the blessed memory of the one you lost. This nation grieves with you. Take some solace from the fact we all grieve with you.
We all grieve with you. Just some simple, straightforward, common human decency. The pandemic is not gone. People are still dying. The virus is still raging in places like nursing homes and meatpacking plants and in 2 apartment buildings in my home borough of the Bronx, a complex I remember from my youth, a chess tournament I played there once. That place has become known as the Death Towers, where there is talk that as many as 100 residents have been sickened by the virus there. And in some places, this is important, the virus is now surging. This is how things look in Alabama, which just saw its largest single-day increase in cases. In the city of Montgomery, Dr. Lisa Williams says, quote, "Our ICU beds are full. We've been having a lot of overflow in the ICU. It is overwhelming." Another Alabama doctor, Michael Sag, warns that it is difficult to convince people the virus is still here. Quote, "I do not think there is any appetite among the general population, nor of our political leaders, to do much more about it." But Alabama's not alone. North Carolina just hit a new high of coronavirus hospitalizations, 702 people in the state's hospitals with the virus. The number of coronavirus patients at Sioux City, Iowa's hospitals reached a new daily high. Mississippi just reported its highest weekly average of cases. I'm afraid this is what the new normal looks like. And now, as a country, while we are mourning our dead and continuing to fight the virus, we continue this late into it, to have all these very complicated problems thrust upon each and every one of us at all levels of American life and society and governance. How do we put the public health infrastructure in place to keep people safe? How do we go back to work and school? Is summer camp a possibility? What should we do about that? How do we visit elderly relatives who we desperately miss and love and want to hug, but we won't want to get sick? And while we're trying to figure all this out, all of us, everyone together, do you know what the president is doing? The president is tweeting about the stock market and other nonsense and saying the state should open up ASAP. He is so removed from what this thing is, what it has done to families and neighborhoods and those 2 buildings in the Bronx and hospital systems, what it's doing now in Montgomery, Alabama, right now. What it threatens to do again to all of us. It's the same virus. It's still out there. In just a few minutes, I'm going to talk to Dr. Craig Spencer, who worked with AJ Plus to put out this incredible animated video showing one day in his life as an ER doctor in New York City treating the coronavirus. This is what the president refuses to see.
They aren't here to say goodbye when they ask to withdraw treatment. We FaceTime so they can say goodbye. We stop the drips, turn off the ventilator, and wait. Your hands upon theirs. You think of their family at home sobbing. Someone starts saying a prayer. You can't help but cry. This isn't what we do. You stand by, you wait. This isn't what we do. You stand by, you wait. Time of death, 7:19 p.m.
Here's the paradox of this moment. I keep coming back to it. The only way that we can get to something that looks like normal, which we all desperately want, we want to be back in a society where you can have parties and hug your loved ones and go to work. The only way we can go back to something that looks like normal is if we remind ourselves that it's not normal, if we remain vigilant and remind ourselves that things have changed. That's the only way we're getting back to normal. The big getting to some kind of semblance of normal is to think that everything is normal. We can only have something that looks like our normal lives if we change and we adapt and we recognize how things have changed. If we are vigilant now, if we think we are magically just going back to our former lives, to the before times, before the virus, then that is a thing that will most likely lead us to disaster.